For centuries, royal weddings have been spectacles of grandeur, carefully choreographed displays of tradition and power. The crowns of Europe unite not only through ceremony, but through history. And yet today, something far more extraordinary has happened. Princess Leonor of Spain and Prince Christian of Denmark, two heirs to two different thrones, have done the unthinkable. They are married. But here's the twist: this was not the cold, political union that so many expected. This was not about treaties or dynasties. This was about love. And the breaking footage, now spreading across the world, proves it. What was once a whisper of romance has become a global moment of passion, devotion, and history in the making. How did this come to pass? How did two young royals, born into centuries of protocol and expectation, create a wedding that feels more like a love story than a state occasion? To understand, we must step into the heart of this wedding day. The cathedral bells of Madrid rang out, echoing through the ancient streets. Crowds gathered, thousands upon thousands, waving Spanish and Danish flags side by side. They had come not only to witness a marriage, but to feel history unfold before their eyes. And then, she appeared. Leonor, Spain's future queen, walked with a grace that stilled even the restless noise of the crowd. Her gown shimmered beneath the sunlight, but more than fabric, it was her presence that captivated. Eyes steady, yet full of quiet joy, she carried herself not as a symbol, but as a bride. A young woman in love. And waiting for her, at the altar, stood Christian, Denmark's crown prince, tall, composed, and visibly overcome with emotion. When his eyes met hers, every camera, every spectator, every witness could see it. This was not performance. It was devotion. Their vows, spoken in voices trembling with both duty and affection, were not only promises to each other, but to two nations. Leonor's words carried the weight of her crown, yet they were tender, personal, achingly human. Christian's voice broke with emotion as he pledged his life not as a king-to-be, but as a man who had found his one true companion. And then, the moment. The kiss that sealed not only their marriage, but a vision of the monarchy renewed. As their lips met, the cathedral erupted in cheers, and outside, the crowds roared as if Spain itself had discovered a new heartbeat. But beyond the beauty of that moment lies the deeper story. Because this marriage is not without tension. Behind palace walls, debates have raged for months. Advisors questioned whether this union was wise. Could two heirs, from two different thrones, risk complicating centuries of tradition? Would their love be seen as strength, or as a gamble for power? And yet, Leonor and Christian stood firm. They chose love above caution, and in doing so, they redefined what royalty means in the 21st century. Already, the footage of their wedding is circling the globe. Clips of Christian's tearful smile. Frames of Leonor's steady hand in his. The internet is ablaze, fans across Spain, Denmark, the UK, and beyond declaring this the wedding of the century. But what does this mean for the future? That question lingers, heavier than any ring or gown. Leonor is the heir to Spain's throne. Christian is the heir to Denmark's. In time, one will rule Madrid, the other Copenhagen. And yet now, through marriage, their lives are forever entwined. Will this bring Spain and Denmark closer together than ever before, a bond of hearts turned into a bond of nations? Or will it test the very limits of monarchy, forcing new rules to be written for a love too strong to be contained by borders? Royal historians remind us that such unions have happened before, shaping Europe in ways no one could predict. But never before has a royal marriage carried so much modern symbolism. Leonor and Christian are not relics of old dynasties, they are young, educated, and deeply aware of the world around them. Their marriage is not only a promise of stability, but a challenge to tradition itself. And what of their families? King Felipe of Spain, who walked his daughter down the aisle, was seen fighting back emotion, his usual composure broken by pride and love. Queen Letizia, who once walked this same uncertain road as an outsider, stood radiant, her eyes fixed not on protocol but on her daughter's happiness. In Denmark, Crown Prince Frederik and Crown Princess Mary could not hide their joy, remembering their own story of love that once defied expectations. But perhaps most moving of all were the people. Ordinary citizens, who braved the summer heat to stand in plazas and streets, wept openly as they watched. They felt it, the authenticity, the reality of two royals who dared to marry not only for duty, but for love. As the reception unfolded, details began to emerge. A banquet where Spanish and Danish delicacies were served side by side. Speeches that blended tradition with heartfelt emotion. And music, ancient hymns alongside modern melodies, that symbolize the balance Leonor and Christian embody. Yet even in celebration, questions linger. How will this marriage shape Europe's future? Will Leonor, one day Queen of Spain, and Christian, one day King of Denmark, rule separately yet united? Or will this be the spark of an unprecedented era of cooperation between two monarchies? What is certain is that the world will not forget today. The breaking footage, the kiss, the tears, the vows, all have etched themselves into history. This was not just a royal wedding. It was a story of courage, of defiance, of love that refused to bow to tradition's cold demands. As night falls over Madrid, the bells are still echoing. The streets are alive with celebration. And somewhere, away from the cameras, Leonor and Christian are no longer heirs, no longer symbols. They are simply husband and wife. And so, this is how a fairy tale becomes reality. Not with arranged treaties, not with cold diplomacy, but with two hearts, daring to choose each other. The royal wedding is complete. Leonor and Christian are married. And nothing, for Spain, for Denmark, for Europe, will ever be the same again.